All right, folks. So for in this series of Ladders to Leadership, we have Bob Kelly over here, the president of Wickright. How you doing, Bob?
I'm doing great. And how are you?
Doing good. Doing good. So tell me this. We always like to start off on a positive note. What's something that you're looking forward to this week?
I'm looking forward to this week. Um, well, Friday I'm going to go play cards and then go see a concert. I love live music.
Ooh, who are you going to check out?
Oh gosh. Well, actually, it's a small venue in Evanston called Space. I don't know if you've ever been to the north side of Chicago, but they bring in a lot of big names. So chances are, I mean, I haven't looked it up, but I tend to go to this spot on a regular basis. And so if anybody's good enough to play at that venue, then they're good enough to listen to. You don't need to know who they are.
Ah, I love that. It's almost like live music roulette. You just never know who's in town, but like you know that they
Exactly.
have the standard for you to enjoy it.
Yep. Exactly.
Awesome. So Bob here's got an interesting background with what he's done over at Wickrights. Can you walk me through your journey in the roofing space and what came out of it?
Well, it starts really. I have to go back to the very beginning of the people who've shaped who I am. I'll make this quick. I was trained by a gentleman who did everything from scratch. So if you needed wood made up, you grind the knife and run it through the planer and you make your own baseboard or crown molding or cabinets, or you soldered your own copper, or everything was very organic. And our specialty was building additions off of old Victorians on the North Shore of Chicago, which required you to use hand tools and do things. It wasn't from Home Depot. There was no Home Depot. It was Builder Square, but even that they didn't give us the materials that we needed. And
Mm,
so I was able to learn how to fabricate materials to accommodate the situation that I was needing something made for that situation. Okay. So carry forward, then as I was in my business and I wanted to expand, I thought to expand my talent was to go get a job on building custom motor yachts up in Wisconsin. And when I went up there to interview with these people, I realized that they were doing everything. I was already doing it. I was already doing everything custom, and I had all the same tools. So I thought, well, all I need to do is emphasize having a flawless job with the best joinery and making a functional job look beautiful, not making a beautiful job look functional.
mm.
You got to go function first, and then you go, you know, beauty next. So that's always been the focus. Now I'm really a carpenter who fell in love with sheet metal fabrication and protecting all of my doors and windows for flashing details. So as I progressed through, and once I would say the last nice trim job I did was almost $1 million staircase in a home that had all this custom inlaid lumber and ebony and teak and red oak and all this whatever. Those jobs went away in '08. And so a friend of mine who sent me a lot of work through those years said, look, the only thing that's left are these cinder block buildings that have been built during the building boom, and they're all soaking wet. So he started referring, he's a home inspector, so he referred all these jobs to me. And so in order to fix them, there was no way for these things to get fixed. There was like you patch them up with the same materials that they were built with. And so we started experimenting with how do we change the assembly method. And so the assembly method was to separate the roof membrane from the masonry, just to try to get airflow in. And I didn't understand that this was going to be my career, right? So so moving forward, having the skills of doing everything from scratch and trying to improvise. Then I started playing with sheet metal and perforating sheet metal and trying to come up with methods to dry these buildings out, because we did a couple of buildings, but they were very rudimentary. But the mold smell left the building, and so now that we've found other materials that encourage breathability, keep out of wind-driven rain, we use corrugated plastic. So now in sheet metal, now this is who I am. I'm a roofing. I got forced into being a roofing contractor. I never thought I'd ever be a roofing contractor, but now I am. But it's like the thing that I thought the least of at the point. Now I feel like it's the epitome of my career, which is a little interesting dichotomy there. Um, so yeah, so I guess that's the answer. We learned how to do everything, recognize the need, build to the need, and because of that, now we have original designs.
And I love that, Bob, because like it's funny how you mentioned like there's a lot of different things that happen, but it all goes back to just buildings that function first, beauty next. Like you trained with a gentleman who did everything from scratch, so like understood like the bare essence of things. So where you're at now, where you're recognizing that needs, you're building to it and having the original designs, and know that what you're doing, it is a problem, but other people may have that problem. Other roofers have that problem. And
Hmm.
it sounds like that's how you built the business that you have today.
That's correct.
So tell me, what's been your proudest moment so far from running your company?
My proudest moment. Well, I think it's in this, like in this last past couple years, um, knowing that there's a steady supply of work always coming my way. I know that may not seem like a lot, but when you're self-employed, there's always that little bit of a knife sticking you in the back saying, look, you got to get your next job. You have to get your next job. And to overcome that overflowing amount of work coming in our direction based on this topic. And that I'm really proud of that fact. I mean, I raised a very large family, and making sure that there was food on the table and a roof over their heads was always, that's the number one priority as a father, of course. But to provide that to my family through my work was that's the goal. So I'm proud of the fact that we've broken down some barriers. We've learned a lot and shared that with the industry. That's nice. That's a nice to have. I'm proud of the fact that I'm becoming an expert. I'm known as an expert in this topic. I do appreciate that.
And I appreciate what you mentioned. Spoiler alert, Bob. So on my side, like I'm a new dad, 3 months
Oh,
old.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Well,
And when you're talking about raising a family, it really does come to top of mind for me, of saying like, okay, what's that next job to work with? Like, we got to put food on the table, and there's a new level of excitement that comes with it. So
mhm.
I definitely resonate with that. Let's talk about the landscape. What's been working well for your business lately?
Working well for my business lately. Of the social media side of the business. Um, so for the past 5 or 6 years, I've been putting on talks to realtors or home inspectors. We've been getting more active in social media. Um, and so what's working for me is that we're getting out there. But my clients are they're doing the research in the middle of the night.
Mm, hmm.
They don't have you don't have anybody that you can really go to on the front, go to somebody's front porch and say, hey, who did you use to do this job? And also, people don't want to talk about the fact that they got water in their buildings. So imagine that, you're an expert. Let's say you've got a problem in your building. Most people are not inclined to want to go next door and reveal that they have a chronic issue that they can't solve. So what's working well for me is the fact that people are finding us, despite the fact that I may have done a job, next door. Like I just came from an inspection just now,
Mm-hmm.
and I did this job 5 years ago, and I gave a talk with a group of realtors last year. Um, and the building that I just looked at, I happened to work on 5 years ago, and I corrected that water issue. So this guy said, "So if you were me to buy this building, what would you do? Would you buy it?" I said, "Well, yeah, I would buy it because I fixed it. But everybody else in the neighborhood's got the same problem, So
Sure.
that's so there's nothing immediate in the space of saying what's working for me today. It's just fortunately, we're able to tap into the effort of the last, really the past 5 to 7 years when we made a constant concerted effort to get the word out.
And I appreciate that because of we're like my generation's guilty of this, Bob, of overnight success. All right, so it's that instant gratification. But what you're describing is it's that compounded effort of 5 years of building trust and relaying the message to address those issues of one, clients are doing research in the middle of nights, and two, people don't want to talk about watering their buildings. It's very
No,
taboo. And you've been able to like over the years chip into that and present solutions for this, whether it's for those realtors, home inspectors, and I'm sure other building owners as well.
hmm yeah, absolutely.
So if you had to pick one thing that's driving most of your growth right now that's not social media, what would it be?
What's driving the growth? Well, fortunately, it's like it comes back to that cumulative effort, right? It's my reputation is really good. I, you know, I've never met a building I can't fix. And now the word's out there with the people that I really want a good reputation with home inspectors and some engineers and architects, and of course all my past clients that, um, you know, they know that when they call me that I will deliver. Um, so that's kind of a yeah, it's there's nothing about overnight success in this industry.
Yeah, absolutely. And we hear that often when we talk to other folks in the Ladders to Leadership series, is that it just takes work, good quality work that's consistent and over time. And it's hard. It absolutely is hard to go through this and see the success that you're having. But as we talk about hard, we talk about hard for growth, but like, what's the hardest part about running your business right now?
First part about growing my business or running my business. Um, well, one thing that's always a challenge is always making sure that you've got the right staff in place. Because now, no matter how good I can be personally, I can be a robot and I can do everything. I'll do everything a certain way. Now, how do I replicate that? Because I'm at a space right now where I've got 7 guys in the field and I've got good backup in the office. But how do I keep this going and how do I replicate this event? I guess that's where I'm at right now. So I can't replicate it. I can't grow my business through selling more labor because the what we're doing is so sensitive. It's kind of like open heart surgery on a house on every single job. So I can't watch more than 2 jobs happening at the same time. Um, so my next growth is I started a new business called What Building Solutions, which is my version of an engineering company that gives um, recipes for success for how to fix a building. I document it. I'll document the problem and then the solution. I give them a drawing, and the line of products that we develop through experimenting with buildings are vented flashings.
Hmm.
So this is my attempt to sell more analysis and specify the fix as I see it, and then go out and train other contractors to install and do these jobs successfully.
Yeah, and I can definitely see like first off, like that's a great concept to think about, like to grow scale. Like I could also see like a certification process. This
Yeah,
roofing contractor is now certified in X, Y, and Z, and with your company and your business. And like as a result, you have a warranty with the products and services.
right, right.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So let's talk more about some of the challenges that you're experiencing as a business owner. If you could wave that magic wand, Bob, fix one bottleneck in your operations, what would it be?
Is try to find financing for my clients.
Tell me more.
Um, because most of the clients that I have are like 3 or 6 unit condos or 12 unit condos where everybody's short on money. The reserves are always low, and then whenever they've got a big project coming up, they do a special assessment. Well, I find that when I fix a building, that it costs somewhere between 20 and 30% the value of the entire property
Wow.
to do what I'm doing. So how do I facilitate that? I mean, because my clients know that what I'm doing is correct. It's just that most people don't have $250,000 sitting in the bank ready to spend it on a new roof or a venting system. Or I mean, can you imagine what it was like for me 10 years ago? And I'd say, hey, look, I need you need my venting system, and it's going to cost you $200,000.
Yeah.
But everybody else you talk to doesn't even know what I'm talking about,
Hmm.
right? So in order to find a buyer early on, it was really difficult. Now, the problem that we're running into, that we're fixing, is becoming more prevalent, and the education is a lot better. Now, now we've got a much larger batch of clients, but they're also younger and less able to pay for it at the same time when the buildings are getting older. And older means 30 years in my book. We're not talking 50 or 100 years old.
Hmm.
So now we got this problem of a younger, less able to pay for service with buildings that need this service more than ever. So now the key between those two is financing. Um, and I'm not sure how to do that. I can't claim it on insurance because the insurance industry figured this out years ago. When they see mold or rot within a roof system, they call it neglect. So there's got to be some mechanism out there that'll help pay for this.
Yeah. Oh,
It,
wow. What
it's
an interesting concept.
it's almost to the level of a FEMA situation. What's the best way of explaining that? Yeah, it's it's so prevalent that you're going to hear about people. I mean, people are going to perish at some point when a roof system collapses in the middle of the night
Yeah.
during a snowstorm.
Yeah. When it can't handle the weight and
They can't handle
just
the
over the
weight.
years of rot and just being wet and the decay.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And like we just opened up a roof 2 days ago where there was quote unquote redone, but the roofer just put new plywood over the rotten trusses and put a roof on it and said it was redone. And now we opened it up to put our venting system in, because the problem that they were experiencing is they're on the third floor and they've got 9 foot ceilings. Half of the drywall, the paper on the drywall on the top half of those walls is all peeling off throughout the entire building.
Oh.
Like it's so soggy. Okay.
Mm.
So my nickname for the buildings are, I call them soakers. Okay. It's funny, not funny, right?
Yeah. Wow.
So then
Oh.
we opened this up, and now they're going to be looking at a minimum of $50,000 to $70,000 worth of extras, and frankly they're scared.
Yeah, and rightfully so. Let's talk about your business a little bit more
Okay.
about this, Bob. So where do you feel most of your time or resources are getting drained?
Oh wow, that's a good question. I hate to say it, it's Instagram.
Yeah.
we do a lot of we do a lot of marketing through Instagram. No, but I also have a lot of friends that I've made over the past 5 to 6 years, who are instrumental in the industry, and so I keep track of them. But It's an addictive distraction. But where else is my time being zapped? Um, Other than that, I'm pretty efficient with my time.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be to like build a brand new product that comes with it. So let's put it in a different perspective for
Okay.
you, Bob. When things go wrong in your business, what's the most common root cause?
What's the most common root cause? When things go wrong. Um, well, I've made a habit of pointing the finger at me every single time. So
Mm,
if an employee of mine does something wrong, it's because I didn't manage them properly.
sure.
So I really got to turn it on myself. But what is it? What is it that goes wrong? It's poor planning. I would say that's the number one cause of all evil is poor planning.
How so?
Um, there are so many little nuances entrained in all these remodel jobs. There are any number of different fasteners that you need to have. You know, drilling into metal versus drilling into wood, having the right drill bits, having the right combination of drills. I mean, you ever seen the van of somebody who does kitchens and bathrooms?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
It's
God help
wild.
those people. When I used to do that, my suspension was tilted. It was so heavy on the backside.
Yeah.
It was bent. They need to have everything in their possession: a torch, drywall tools, painting tools, cabinetry tools, framing tools, tile tools. I mean, you name it, they need to have everything. And in my space, I'm eliminating some things, but I'm not
Mhm.
eliminating everything. So that's part of it. It's, you know, when you go to the lumber yard, just stand behind a contractor and look what happens. That when they hit the button that says, okay, the total amount on the bill, then all of a sudden that contractor thinks of five more things they had to add to the ticket. It's like the Pavlovian response
Yep.
in the
Yep.
construction industry.
Be
So,
careful what you open up because it's gonna open up more doors.
yeah. So I'd say poor planning.
Yeah,
So
completely fair.
for me to be successful, I start planning the night before. I load up the truck, and then as I'm about to drive away, I tend to think of, oh, what if this happens? Oh, what if that happens? I bring in more materials.
Yeah. So what I'm hearing is from poor planning, it's like at the root cause for a lot of things is those who plan to fail, fail. Those who fail to plan to fail is what I hear.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So, last question on just what's top of mind for you from like a challenging perspective. What would you say's been your biggest challenge or challenges with attracting or keeping customers in the past year?
Attracting or keeping customers. Uh, the biggest challenge I have is walking into projects um, where I don't know the total scope of work because you don't know until you open it
Mm,
up.
yeah.
So, like, we're on the tail end of a repair, 2.5 year repair of a house that I thought might be there for 2 or 3 months. And so I'm devoted to every client that when I start a job, I'll stay then until I'm done. And this one has kept us there for over 2.5 years.
Wow.
I've been on several projects like that where we got into something. On another house, we opened up a 2-year-old house, and it was so poorly done that we were there for another 2 years.
Wow.
And then I've got other customers in the wings that are waiting for me, and they're patient. But some people just say, "Screw you, I'm out," and that's bad for business. But yet, I've got a fiduciary to my present client.
Yeah, it's a good call out also, Bob, because when we think about like project creep, sometimes it's not
Mhm.
the contractor's fault for that.
Oh
Like we
no,
just don't know until we actually start looking into to your point, the total scope of work.
right?
That's like what is going on with this. And it's a good reminder as homeowners, just as and realtors that um the initial issue may not be the root cause, and there might be more work that needs to be done, and to be prepared and be graceful about that.
Graceful. Yeah, that's a big word in this conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not alone in that space. I'll tell you that. Let's talk about what's next for you and your team. So, where do you want to be? Where do you want your business to be in the next 12 to 18 months?
Oh gosh, I've been thinking a lot about this. Thank you. One is um, I want to do more analysis on buildings. Um, I we My crew is fine the way they are. We'll go through changes like we always do. Over the years, some people are gonna leave, and we'll take on new people, and that's fine. That's pretty well contained, selling that amount of labor. But I really want to encourage manufacturing of these venting products that we've developed, because we do get calls from across the country, from Florida to New
Mhm.
York, Wisconsin, California, Arizona, and we sold to different places, and getting my designs into the blueprints where they're appropriate is a goal of mine. Like we were just somebody found us some architect group who was building a hospital in Denver, Colorado. Found They Googled parapet walls and they found me, and since I'm the only parapet wall venting manufacturer anywhere,
I love
then I
that.
got specified for a hospital. That was super exciting. And I
Yeah,
was, so I'm actually expanding my shop. We're putting an addition on my shop as we speak to handle a volume. I don't want to say a higher volume. I want a volume of work going to keep that busy. At some point, I just turned 60, and I'm not thinking.
congrats.
I'm just thinking about retirement someday.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get a mechanism in place so that I can have some kind of repeat business manufacturing these products.
Yeah, and like with your background, Bob, I would imagine legacy is also top of mind for you. Like you've built this in, and now word's getting out in place. Like, what do you need to have in place to make this vision of having these specs in place? Like how to handle the volume of work? What do you need to make this vision a reality?
Um, I think I need about 10 years and $5 million. Seriously, I mean, I need the operating capital,
Hmm.
which I don't have because the demands of my family has always been first, of course, and
Sure.
so to get the extra money together to get working capital has not been easy. And so now have got, I sold my cottage that I had for 20 years, and I'm taking that money and I'm dumping it right back into the business because I know that there's potential here.
Wow.
So um, that's at least it's nice that I can see it.
Yeah,
That any effort in, I will get effort out,
absolutely.
and that is comforting to know that, to be in a place like that and to see that it's not just throwing a dart up against the board.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's where I'm at.
Oh, exciting times though. It really is. And
Oh, it is.
as a way to like think about this, like there's some focus that needs to be placed. Like if you could free up 10 to 20 hours a week, what would you focus on instead?
Okay, well, first of all, let me ask you a question. Okay, because you're in the AI space.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I need is I need, I think, something AI related to help me write reports, and not just a standard template, but like show AI photographs and it'll automatically know what to say in a report. Because I've already started doing presentations where I wrote down a bunch of facts of what I would like to see, but not in any particular order. And then I plugged it into chat, and it
Hmm.
spit back at me a beautiful
Sure.
presentation. And I've been using chat as I've been inquiring about chat, and I've actually been getting referrals from chat. So, um, so what would I do with all this extra time? I'll gain the extra time if I can mass produce reports faster. And that means I'll be selling product. And what would I do with my time? Well, I would go into the shop, and I love my job so much that I love making these discoveries and try to adjust what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also a very avid water skier.
Ooh, okay.
And
Yeah.
so I love to water ski as often as I can. Um, what else? I've got a handful of hobbies. I'm a gardener. I would like to travel, see more places. I'd love to see Italy and the architecture.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
almost more than anything else, I would like to see what's been successful in construction and what's failed. Because when I see failures, that is only fodder for areas where I can create improvements.
Yeah,
And then
absolutely.
through improvements, that's how I'm making my income.
Yeah. If you want to make more money, solve bigger problems, is how I see
Exactly. That's
it.
exactly the solution.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And this has been great. Bob. As we wrap things up,
Okay.
for this podcast, let's take a step back. You built a business. You just approached 60 years. You're on the cusp of all these exciting things. What advice would you say to young Bobby, to help guide him on his journey in life?
Get out of bed 45 minutes earlier than you did the day before.
Tell me more. What's the backstory behind that?
The backstory is you wake up with a clean mind. You wake up fresh, and I think your most productive time is in the morning every single day. And so you get a head start on planning. So the longer you're awake in the morning before you go to work, then you have a chance to say, oh, I need the one screw. Oh, you know what? Oh, I need that one saw. Oh, and then as you're walking out the door, you're not driving back down the street because you forgot something. And then the other thing I would say is stay on top of your paperwork. Get your homework done as soon as possible.
Mm. So, what's the reasoning behind that? When you say stay on top of your homework and get that homework done ASAP, what does that mean?
It means that you approach everything while it's still fresh in your brain. Um, and because I was never, I mean, I blew off school, admittedly,
Yeah,
when I was in college and
you're
grammar
amongst
school.
friends.
Yeah, it's so interesting that my grades in school were not that great, but my grades in construction have been straight A's in
Mm,
vertical for 36 years. So get your homework done because that's the part of the job that I don't like the most. I don't like estimating. I don't like writing reports. So get it out of the way so I can enjoy the rest of my day. So I'm not kicking myself later in the day saying, "Oh, I should have gone and done something." Oh, you know, that feeling, kicking yourself.
hmm hmm
Yeah,
I also think of just like do the hard work now so you could free yourself up to focus on the higher priority tasks. Absolutely.
right.
This was great. Bob, we covered a lot of great information here, from your journey to what you're looking at in the future and what you're looking to do in the next 12 to 18 months. Where can people find more about you and Wickright?
Well, we have several websites to look at. Um, we have Wickright Inc. is our website. Wickright General Contracting is another website that helps to educate the public about the problem that we're seeing. Another company that we had to form because when we get these jobs that are where the like the roof systems are so rotten,
Hmm
we had to learn how to build tents over these buildings, and so now we've got a company called 365 Tents, and so yeah, it's when things are really bad, but we're able to keep the client living in the house while their entire roof system is pulled off the top of their house.
Wow.
So that's pretty cool. And then this wet building solutions is what I'm hoping is going to develop into kind of like we start with wet building solutions and everything trickles down from that. But people can find me through Chat GPT.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's so interesting that I asked Chat this question this past week. I said, so, and you always have to be courteous because it does have it does receive inflection.
Sure.
So I say, thank you so much for all the referrals, but how are people finding me on this medium? And it says, because of the questions that I ask, it's remembering everything I say and spits it back to the public, whoever asks similar questions. So I'm starting to learn how to utilize AI. If that's a clue, that's one way to find us.
Yeah, and it's definitely a leading indicator for what's to come in the near future. Bob, this has been great. Thank you so much for your time. As you
Oh,
can
my
tell,
pleasure.
like Bob was out in the field, and he's doing the work that needs to be done. So we thank you for your time for being part of the Ladders to Leadership series.
Well, it's been an honor. I mean, you've done a great job. You're a great host. And so, yeah, thanks for everything.
Awesome. Great. Take care.
All right. Thanks so much.
And so what you